Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this past week was filled with news about what to expect from upcoming iPhones based off of recent patents that show what we might get in the future, as well as Apple Glass or mixed reality headsets, the release of iOS 15.2 Beta 3, iOS 15.1.1, watchOS 8.1.1, and much more. This is your news update for the week of November 21st, 2021. And the first thing has to do with the App Store. Apple has long said that the best way to keep security and privacy and everything secure on your phone is to have a closed ecosystem and a closed App Store. In a recent interview with Tim Cook, he said that if you wanted to sideload apps, third-party apps, that you should consider Android, since Apple will not be doing this in the future. A lot of people have said that Apple needs to open everything up so that they can allow third-party apps like they do on the Mac, but this has become a security concern and privacy concern since these apps are mostly vetted to make sure that they're fairly secure and they're letting you know what's going on with your data. So if you go into a different app and maybe go into just a random app here, you can see what data is linked to you, what data is not linked to you, and what data is used to track you as well. So all of these things are up in front so that you can see what's going on with your information. However, a third-party store obviously wouldn't necessarily require that. So it's hard to say if Apple will be forced to do this, but right now they're going to keep everything secure and sort of the way it has been. What do you think about that? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Now, this week is Thanksgiving in the United States. So we're celebrating the United States, being thankful for what we have. And after that, the day after on Friday is known as Black Friday, where there's a ton of different sales in the United States for people shopping for gifts for people for the holiday or just looking for a good deal in general. This typically carries on through the next week up to what's on Monday, what they call Cyber Monday, and there are a ton of deals. So I wanted to share some of those with you since I shared them on Twitter, since they're quite good deals. So if you're looking for AirPods, AirPods Pro, AirPods 3, or AirPods Max, they're up to $100 off on Amazon. Now, I'll link those. It's an affiliate link, so I will get a little bit of money if you purchase through that link. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Just go to Amazon and search for AirPods Max. You'll see that deal there. But the deal for these is over $100 off on certain color availability. So space gray, silver, and blue have over $100 off. The others are discounted as well. AirPods Pro are heavily discounted, and also AirPods 3 are about $10 to $25 off, depending on how you check out and that sort of thing in the United States. So if you're looking for AirPods, this might be the time to pick them up. I thought they were a great deal, so I thought I'd share that with you. And if you'd like me to share more deals with you, maybe in the weekly news updates, let me know in the comments below. Also, Apple is recently sending out emails talking about their Black Friday sales as well, and where they're going to give you up to $200 in an Apple Store gift card with eligible products. So you'll be able to get those and maybe pick something up and get a little bit of bonus. So maybe you're buying an iPhone, you'll maybe get up to $50 or up to $200, depending on what you're purchasing. So that's a nice time to buy an iPhone if you're looking to do that between about Friday and Monday. I would check them out then. Macs and everything else are included. Apple has recently said that they will have people back in the office by February of 2022, where things are starting to get back to normal in the United States, and hopefully they stay that way and continue to go that way around the world. They'll also allow up to 4 weeks of remote work per year as well. So people will be heading back to Apple Park, assuming there's no other issues, and then they'll be back and working collaboratively to make the best products. That's one of the big strong points of Apple, is people are working together to sort of come up with the best ideas and figure out the best way to do things, not only with software, but with hardware as well. And hopefully we'll see some improvements there. Now, also, Apple's new service where they're going to allow you to repair parts of your iPhone and sort of allow you to maybe get a screen or a battery or maybe some other modules as well is apparently going to be partnered with a third-party company where Apple will have manuals available online. Their self-service repair program was announced last week, and they've talked about being able to service things at home. They'll offer more than 200 individual parts and tools, enabling customers to complete the most common repairs on iPhone 12 and iPhone 13. Hopefully this will carry over to older iPhones where the parts would probably be more readily needed, as well as maybe iPads and Mac as well. I would love to see different manuals, maybe schematics and more in the future, but again, we'll have to wait and see how how detailed they allow us to get with those, but either way, they'll have some of those manuals available online, and those should be very soon. And today it was announced that they're going to have a third-party company making much of that easily available online. When it comes to the upcoming iPhone 14 and beyond, Apple is always working, usually a few years ahead, and some information gets out based off of manufacturing. Now, this is just sort of a model that actually runs Android that looks like an iPhone that was supposed to be what the iPhone 13 looked like, but obviously got it way wrong with these 4 different cameras. But either way, when the iPhone 14 comes out, it's said that it's going to have Wi-Fi 6E. Now, according to what we've seen with other manufacturers, such as the Pixel 6 Pro, Apple should be adding Wi-Fi 6E. Many different phones are doing that. It's a newer standard. They typically do that and lag a little bit behind when it comes to that. So it makes a lot of sense. But I think we'll see that very soon, along with their own modems. This has long been sort of rumored that Apple is planning their own modem that would get rid of Qualcomm, and they would maybe be able to do it a little bit better. They'd have their own 5G modems, just like they're designing their chipsets, the A14 and A15 and beyond, along with the M1 processors. They've done a phenomenal job with that. It would be great to see what they could do with their own 5G chips. So it looks like we won't have that in 2022, but rather maybe 2023 is when they're expected to be ready to go into maybe iPhone 15. However, I would love to see them earlier and maybe have them have some additional features that we could only get with maybe Apple. We'll have to wait and see, but it does make a lot of sense. They own a ton of different patents for different modem technology, including the Intel modems they had before, so I wouldn't really think that it would be too much longer before we see their own chips with that. Now, a recent patent found by Patently Apple shows that Apple is working on an all-glass iPhone according to that patent. The phone could use additional touch surfaces and offer something maybe a little bit more unique than just metal and glass, where we have stainless steel and glass or aluminum and glass or aluminium, depending on where you live, and they would have glass surfaces and touch surfaces all over. Not only did they show iPhones, but they showed other devices as well, such as Mac, maybe a Tower Mac made of glass. I'm not sure that's a great idea based off durability, but it certainly would look great. Now, I thought maybe we'd see a glass iPhone years ago, as this is something that has long been rumored, but it looks like Apple has recently patented it, and we could see it maybe in a few years, or maybe not at all. Sometimes they just patent ideas. Now, last week, Apple released iOS 15.2 Beta 3 to developers and public beta testers, along with iOS 15.1.1, but only to specific devices. I've talked about that in a couple different videos, where it's available to the iPhone 12 and 13 series devices to fix a specific cellular issue. Also, they released watchOS 8.1.1, and that was to fix something on the Series 7, but you had to have the GPS and cellular models. So that fixed a specific issue on there as well. And so there has not been an update for all of the other phones. So some people have been saying, should we expect iOS 15.1.2 or just 15.2? And I think at this rate, I'm expecting 15.2, maybe in a few weeks. Now, I'm not sure I would expect iOS 15.2 Beta 4 this week because it's a holiday in the United States. Based off of last year, which was a unique year in many different ways, but also with releases it was different. This year is much different than last year, but last year Apple released iOS 14.3 Beta 2 on November 17th. Then they skipped a couple weeks, or a week or so, and released 14.3 Beta 3 on December 2nd, the release candidate on December 8th, and a final release on December 14th. Then typically Apple goes on vacation from usually around the week of the 14th to the end of the year. So I would expect a very similar release schedule where they skip this week, maybe no beta tomorrow or Wednesday, and instead we'll have a beta the following Tuesday or Wednesday, with a release candidate or maybe a release a week or so after that. That makes the most sense to me just based year over year, but again, we could see an update tomorrow and it could be something unexpected. But just based off of that, I would expect it maybe by the 14th or 13th of December, where we had 15.2 released to the public, and then we move on to iOS 15.3 betas in the 1st of January, somewhere in that week or the week after. So all of those things seem to make sense based on what they've done in the past. I wouldn't expect too much different than that. Now, many people have been predicting and anticipating Apple Glass or a mixed reality headset, and it appears that Apple Glass is closer than we might think. and it's approaching levels where we could see it in 2022 or early 2023. In a recent memo to investors, Morgan Stanley said that the headset is approaching liftoff and is at a point where Apple Watch was prior to its launch. So they've filed many patents around AR and VR technology where you're using your camera to sort of overlay things over reality, and that's augmented reality, and then virtual reality, similar to maybe an Oculus or something along those lines. And those are really fun, but it's hard to see what Apple would actually do with this since they've done a lot of AR games, but nothing where it would overlay the real world. So I can't, other than walking directions. So I can't really see what they would do with it, but I can't wait to see what they have in mind, as they typically wait a while and then release something that's much better than what the competition has. So it looks like we could see it either in the next few months. Many people thought it would be before WWDC last year. If it's at this late of a stage of development, we could see the development part of it at WWDC in June. So hopefully we see that. Again, we don't know for sure. Also, Apple Car has been back in the news where, according to Bloomberg, which typically seems to be fairly accurate, has said that they're working on an autonomous car and it could be shown as soon as 2025. So they could be in production by 2025 with up to 100,000 of them on the road. Not seeing a car at all and then having them just release it without maybe seeing some prototypes seems unlikely to be only a few years out, but it's possible Apple, with all of its production knowledge, has that in the works, and we could see something like that in the next few years. Now, whether or not it would have a steering wheel and pedals, I think it would, since we're fairly early in the autonomous car sort of era, and many people are not very comfortable with that, but we'll have to see what Apple has. Maybe we'll start seeing them on their campus soon or something along those lines. I'd be anxious to see what they're doing, or it could just be software releases or something to help the industry along in general. But either way, it looks like they're working on it, and coming from Bloomberg, they don't typically say things that they don't have some pretty solid evidence about. But either way, let me know what you think about the Apple Car in the comments below. And so that's it for this week. Of course, I'm looking forward to iOS 15.2's release. Maybe we'll have some new emoji in that by the time it's finally released. I think we will, but we don't really know that for sure. But typically this time of year, they do that as well. But hopefully we'll see some new products early next year. I wouldn't expect anything by the end of this year. But let me know what you're looking most forward to next year. Would you get an Apple VR or AR headset if it was reasonably priced? Or is it something you're not interested in? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, of course, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.